Mixtape Podcast.
Yeah, what it do? Mobbing with the crew, nothing new. I thought you knew, thought I was falling off. Blessings keep on falling through. Oh, don't panic, dog. Bro, a boo, I can't lose. No,
Yo,
I can't lose.
welcome to
The Mixtape Podcast. The Mixtape
yeah.
Podcast.
Welcome to the Mixtape Podcast. I am your host, Josh So Focused, alongside.
I got a new name I think you're going to like. Finally, you're going to like a name. I got a name. You ready? French. The bro host. We're a weekly podcast where we talk about the most intriguing Knicks news of the week. If you want to find our socials, all you got to do is check out our Twitter at The Knicks Take, Instagram, The Knicks Take, Facebook.com/Knicks Take Media, YouTube, Knicks Take Videos, and our website is coming real soon.
That was all right. I like that. All right. Let's get to I want to say weekly recap, but yeah, we done left y'all hanging for a little bit, y'all. But we back. Figured it all out.
We
Figured it all out. Apparently, I need a new camera, so you know, hopefully we don't have to have too many long, unscheduled hiatuses again. So we're gonna start off as we have been as these playoffs are going along with a little playoff update. And last time we spoke, me and French were waiting for
The Nets and Bucks game.
Nets and Bucks and Philly
Game 7.
and Atlanta. I think we already talked about the Clippers. I don't know if we said the Clippers. I don't know if the Clippers had beaten the Jazz yet or if they were en route, but Clippers ended up beating the Jazz in 6, and we were waiting on Brooklyn to take that L to the Milwaukee Bucks.
That calm, cool, collected L. KD hit that nice little turnaround post fadeaway to force overtime. Should have been a 3. To Brooklyn fans. But to Knicks fans, we were good to see that game going to overtime and for the Bucks to steal that win, and Harden still ain't show up in a playoff in like 8 years.
I got to give it to them, though. I'm not even going to front, especially KD. KD was...
Yeah, KD you can give it up to.
Jeez.
Joe Harris, all them other guys. I know we a few weeks late to this, but like we just got to get this off our chest because KD was hooping.
That boy real good. Not that boy good.
That boy special.
But I'm going to give it up to them. I'm not even going to harp on Harden because, you know, that hamstring stuff is no joke to play with.
Yeah, but what about last year?
Stop
And the year before that.
And
the year before that.
All I know is thank you, Harden, for having a hamstring issue. My homeboy better pay me my money. Yeah, so Atlanta also ended up taking Philly to 7 and winning.
Yeah. Giving the Knicks fans to use the excuse up, you see? At least we won the game.
I don't know.
That Hawks team was actually kind of good. We lost in 5, but you see what they doing in the East. They about to go to the finals if Trae Young hoop out tonight in Game 7.
I still don't know if I want to give Atlanta that much credit. Like,
all right, but listen to this though. I understand you might not be ready to give them their credit. I'm gonna give them their credit, and I would much rather see Atlanta go to the finals than Milwaukee. That's just me.
I don't.
Why not? I feel like Atlanta and Phoenix in the finals could be a much better matchup than Milwaukee and Phoenix. Atlanta beat them last time they played.
Okay, we beat Atlanta last time they played until the playoffs. So
I think Phoenix and Atlanta match up pretty well. They got a lot of young wings.
Think so.
3-and-D players.
I think Phoenix.
I think Milwaukee.
I
think Milwaukee is too wishy-washy.
No, I agree with you in that. Milwaukee is definitely really wishy-washy. But I got Phoenix winning whoever comes out of the East, and
me too.
I think this Milwaukee team is better than this Atlanta team when fully healthy. And yeah,
I mean they're the better team, but who's who like the more exciting team to watch is Atlanta.
I don't care. I don't care about them being the most
I feel like that personally. I had to watch them in person and watch them beat the Knicks in Game 1.
Yeah, nobody told you to do that.
And it's just like if I wasn't a Knicks fan, I would be able to watch that game and enjoy just Atlanta hoop like that and Trae Young hoop like a young superstar like how he is playing.
I'm gonna say this.
I'd much rather see Trae Young and Chris Paul in the finals.
I'm gonna say this. Atlanta doesn't cakewalk to the second round if Julius Randle plays like Julius Randle. And we have Mitchell Robinson. Atlanta,
that's hard to say.
Doesn't get out of.
We lost in 5 games. Yeah, you could say that we might get to 7, but Atlanta had more talent than us.
I agree. No, I
throughout
said that
the
from
entire
jump.
roster.
I said that from jump.
Trae Young was still going to be hooping regardless.
I'm not saying that the Knicks win.
So I ain't going to just say we taking
I'm
that.
not saying the Knicks will
we go
win,
to 7,
but I'm saying that we don't lose in 5, and it's questionable.
Yeah.
It's like you could make the argument that the Knicks would win.
You could make the
Philly
argument.
comes into the second round with hurt Embiid.
Everybody's hurt.
Now a lot of people.
Yeah. Everybody's hurt.
We make excuses for who we want. Who we want to make excuses for. I understand.
Exactly.
But Philly comes into that round with hurt Embiid, and Simmons shows who he really is. But I'm not even gonna put it too much on Simmons. No, I'm not. Actually, no. I will put it on. I will put it on Simmons. But beyond that, even if Simmons plays the way he plays, I still think Philly takes that. If I think Embiid is 100% healthy, for all the games. And then
I want to throw a curveball after you finish.
And then they're playing Milwaukee, and granted, Trae Young got hurt, but Giannis is hurt. Like, if they get out of this round, it's like, okay, who am I supposed to respect? Like, all right, I respect that. Y'all beat this team. Like, y'all are clearly the better team outside of the Knicks. And the Knicks, they didn't even play the way that they normally play. Like, I'm more upset at how the Knicks played than I am at how the Hawks is nice. Like,
Hawks was balling. We're not gonna do that.
If they go into the finals and they play against CP3 and Devin Booker and them boys, and they take them to 6 and 7, even if they lose, I'll give it to them. I was like, all right, they earned that. Like, obviously,
yeah.
I was hating.
They earned their way to the finals too. If that's the case.
Nah, at this point, I'm like, no, they're a really good team. But do I think that do I think they should be in the Eastern Conference Finals? I don't think they should.
The Knicks were not going to beat Philly with even a hurt Embiid and with Ben Simmons playing like that.
I would have, if the Knicks got out of the first round, I would have liked to see how that would have played out. I'm not going to say that they wouldn't, but I didn't think that Hawks were going to beat hurt Embiid Sixers team.
I thought there was a chance.
No, I didn't think so. I thought that they wasn't getting out of the second round, and I thought even if they got out of the second round, and I put it on Embiid being hurt, I didn't have them having a chance of coming out of the conference finals.
No,
I have enough respect for them to say that they would get wins in the series. I have enough respect for them to be like,
wins.
I wouldn't be surprised to see it go 6. I have enough respect for them for that, but I don't see this Hawks team going to the conference finals as currently constructed ever again.
I don't think. I think they're gonna get better next year.
Like, I thought, like, if
because
the Knicks
of what happened this season.
I thought if the Knicks were gonna make it to the conference finals, it would be exactly for the reason that the Hawks made it to the finals. And Embiid got hurt in the first round, and he's coming into the second round hurt, and Ben Simmons doesn't show out, and that's how they get it to the conference finals. That's exactly how I would think the Knicks would have made it, if anything. Not because I think that the Knicks are good enough to be a conference finals team, but because they played against the Hawks in the first round, got out of that. They play a hurt Embiid in the second round. And then if they get to the finals, you could say, well, Giannis got hurt in game, 3, 4? Like,
it don't matter. They still beat Giannis twice.
They deserve respect. But I still want to see them.
But go ahead. I'm going to let you finish.
I still want to see what a healthy Hawks team does against any healthy championship contender team, and I want to see how far that series goes. I don't think that they go 7 against a fully healthy championship contender.
They were up when Giannis got hurt, and they were looking like they were clearly the better team when Giannis got hurt. Just to be fair,
I think that you can make the team that case for every team that the Bucks have played in this playoffs. That they've looked like the worst team, and then they turn around, except for the Heat. Excuse me, the Heat in Game 1. The Heat might be the better team, and then they got smoked after that. But the Bucks are not a consistent team until they turn it on and decide they're not losing a game.
But you comparing them to the Brooklyn Nets. That's not telling you something?
Who?
The Hawks. You saying every other team in the playoffs, but that was the Brooklyn Nets.
The Brooklyn Nets ain't the Brooklyn Nets without Kyrie and Gimp Harden.
But Kyrie was playing in the series though until he got hurt. And when he was playing in that series, the Nets was the team looking like the better team, right?
Right, I agree with that, but I still think that series goes 7 because that's how much respect I have for the Bucks. And maybe that's the casual fan of me, but I was like, I can see if they're both healthy. I see the Nets taking it in 7, but I think it goes 7. I don't think I don't have that much faith in this Hawks team. You know, if they win this series, then I might start changing my tune. I might start changing my tune if they win this series. But I still kind of feel like there's a lot of injuries and just teams not playing the way that they can play to get you to the finals, as opposed to some of the other grittier performances like we've seen in the Western Conference.
I feel like the Hawks are kind of like the Suns of the East. The only thing they're missing is a Chris Paul. Well, not even a Chris Paul. A secondary scorer. I was going to say a Devin Booker, but nah, I was going to say a Devin Booker kind of player because the Hawks don't have a Devin Booker, but they have an elite, well, I'm not going to call Clint Capella an elite big man, but a solid.
He's solid.
He's a solid big man. They have a playmaking point guard who's a fantastic scorer. He could score any way he wants to. Floater, threes, draw fouls. He's versatile. And Devin Booker is probably the only difference between these two teams. I don't see Giannis and Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday and Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez. I respect them all as players, but I just would rather see the Suns. That's just me. But we can move on to the next one. I was gonna say the curve. You said what?
Go ahead.
I was gonna switch topics a little bit.
I was gonna say the Bucks are leading 3-2 in the series right now.
Yeah. And Trae Young's coming back tonight.
No Giannis in the last couple games, but Trae Young is playing tonight while Giannis has been confirmed out.
Yeah.
Now, before you transition, what happens if the Hawks lose this game?
Series done.
I know the series is done. How does that affect what we just said?
It doesn't. I feel like
why? If the Hawks lose to a Giannis-less Bucks team when they have Trae Young,
I'm not gonna ignore everything that happened in the playoffs before this point. I'm still gonna say
you to. The Hawks are a really good team. I don't want you to mishear what I'm saying. The Hawks are a really good team.
All right, so what are you really asking?
I don't think that they're a championship contender. That's all I'm saying. I don't think they're a championship contender. I don't think that in a normal circumstance, I feel like them getting to the Eastern Conference Finals is akin to the Knicks getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. Even though I think that the Hawks are a better team than the Knicks. I just don't. I think in a normal season, they would not be here. That's all.
But I agree with that. I just feel like it would be more entertaining if they made it to the finals because of the matchup.
But I think that they will get one less game than the Bucks would. So
either way, the Suns is gonna win.
I think so.
I just think it'll be a more entertaining group of games. But the curveball that I was gonna throw at you is this: me and a friend, I don't know why I'm stuttering so much. Me and my friend were talking about the potential of a Ben Simmons Kyrie trade, right? And I was saying how both sides benefit from this, right? But
Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, Ben Simmons for Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
He was saying how the Nets would be worse because of this trade. What's your 2 cents on that? Do you feel like the Nets are still going to win a championship with Ben Simmons instead of Kyrie? Do you feel like they're worse?
The Nets would be worse. The Nets would be worse because I don't think the value Ben Simmons would bring is is anywhere close to the kind of clutch factor and big game moment shit that Kyrie does. Kyrie is like all three of them boys, Kyrie, KD, James Harden, all of them are better than Ben Simmons. And even though Ben Simmons is a better defender than probably all three of them combined, I still think that when they step it up on the defensive end, it's enough. It's enough to get you a championship. Whereas Ben Simmons' lack of offense kills you when he's on the court. It does. It does kill you. Like he.
You want to know why
score,
I disagree?
But there's a reason he's getting killed on Twitter now. Like, it's a reason he's getting killed on Twitter. So you're not getting even value, even with what Ben Simmons brings defensively and all the other good things he does on the court. Because it's not just his defense that is the reason why he's on the court. But I just think Kyrie wins you a game, whereas Ben Simmons can lose you one.
Here's my perspective. When you have KD and Harden on the team, you don't need your third guy to be the Showtime scorer. Like, you don't need all that because you have all the scoring that you need in James Harden and KD. What Ben Simmons brings to the game is an elite third option and all the other things that the first two guys don't do. The Nets were a horrible defensive team. They immediately improved with Ben Simmons. They're a better rebounding team with Ben Simmons. And with James Harden off the court, you can have him run the one. And you don't worry so much more about, oh, he can't score, he can't do this and that, because he's getting other guys involved. The Joe Harrises of the world, the Nick Claxton of the world, all the other guys that you're going to need in the playoffs to win. You got all these other guys in the rhythm, and you got your two top guys in the rhythm. On top of that, you have good defense on whatever primary ball handlers on the other team. You have elite rebounding, and you have elite playmaking on the court at all times. You can't say that is the same as a Kyrie Irving on the Nets, because when Kyrie's on the court, it's just more scoring, and then that's it.
A little bit too. Yeah, this might be too
not to Ben
simplistic,
Simmons level.
and you could be absolutely right. I don't think it's worth arguing, but this might be too simplistic in why I disagree with you. I think that the Nets get to the Eastern Conference Finals with Kyrie. I don't know if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals if you put Ben Simmons in there. Like,
who's beating them?
All I'm talking
First team
about
that pops
is
into your
Game
head.
7 when KD was going off, but he had played. This is like his second game where he's playing all these minutes, and they're going to him for shot after shot. Like, he needed somebody else to score at that point, because he was the offensive load. Nobody else could score on the Nets. If you have Kyrie there, he doesn't have to shoulder that load. You put Ben Simmons on there and you ask him to do that, it's not going to happen. But
that's not what you're going to ask Ben Simmons to do. You're going to ask Ben Simmons to get the stop so that they ain't going to overtime.
That's also true, but elite offense always trumps over elite defense.
You need a balance of both. You
absolutely need a balance to win, especially to win the championship.
The Nets team this year was supposed to be the overwhelming offense, because their defense was terrible. They were supposed to be the overwhelming offense and prove that defense doesn't matter in the playoffs, and then they got sent up out of here.
We can't talk about that like Kyrie was playing the entire time and got sent. Like, I do think that they make it to the championship. They get the championship if they're fully healthy. I do believe that. Like, my thing has always been regardless. They've been hurt all year. So to expect that that they were going to be healthy throughout the playoffs was a little bit of a stretch for me. But if they were healthy, I was going to give it up. They're going to win the championship if they're healthy. That's the only thing, is that they weren't healthy. And that's the thing.
That was another thing I was talking about.
If that's the only thing that would sway it in the Ben Simmons' favor, is that Ben Simmons would be healthy, whereas Kyrie or whoever you want to put in there in that trade would not be healthy. And that might swing it in that direction, because we saw it. Kyrie couldn't make it. Kyrie couldn't make it to that game 7. Ben Simmons was there. He didn't play great, but he was at least there, and that's better than nothing. So,
Yep.
you know,
That was the one point that I forgot to mention, was that Kyrie being healthy is a question mark. He's not guaranteed to be healthy in the playoffs. Ben Simmons, he's shown that he can be healthy enough to get to the playoffs and survive a long playoff run. But you can't guarantee that Kyrie's going to be there. That's another reason why I would make that trade if I was Brooklyn. But that's just me.
so I guess we're gonna.
So now we're going to transition from the playoffs. We're going to transition into Olympic basketball, where we got a chance to get a good look at some of our Knicks. Huge congrats to them boys, Obi Toppin and Quickly, who just got their invite to the USA select team in Vegas to practice against the Olympic team that'll be heading out to Tokyo later this summer.
Yeah, that was a lot.
And then we're gonna that was a lot, right?
That was a lot. But yeah, them boys, man. Like, first of all, I'm gonna say I wasn't expecting neither one of them to get that invite.
Me neither. Quickly's been getting crazy. Like, he's been getting snubbed crazy all year.
That's exactly why, though. Like, he's been getting snubbed. He's been getting disrespected. And then him and Obi, I'm like, all right, like I'm happy for him, but I'm surprised. I'm even more surprised to see Obi get that invite than Quickly.
I'm not surprised. You want to know why I wasn't surprised? Because I looked at the rest of that roster. John Jenkins got an invite, and he's in the G League. Like, bro, how much of these young players are from overseas?
Right.
R.J. Barrett, Canada. All these Nikhil Alexander, I didn't even know was from Canada. I'm only mentioning so many Canada players because I was watching the game earlier. Never mind. I'm gonna leave that for later. But yeah, America doesn't seem to have too many young prospects. Is Anthony Edwards on that team? Let me go back and look at that list while you take over here.
I was surprised to see that, but yeah, when I did look at the rest of that team too, I did say, yeah, you know what, I can see it. And then I tried to think of like some other young guys that maybe should have got invited,
yeah,
and they're on the
there.
regular. They're either on the regular team or they're part of the select team. So yeah, it's probably slim pickings when it comes to the good players. I'm not mad at it. I don't think either one of them is gonna actually join the regular team in the Olympics. I think
Do select players join the Olympic team?
they play against them in scrimmage. They practice with them, and they have the opportunity to join that team as a result of,
in case of an injury.
yeah, I think in case of injury they can get sent up, all that stuff. I don't think there's anything. I don't see anything happening where you will be seeing Obi and Quickly in any of the Olympic games. But
Man, get Kevin Love out of there and give us Obi Toppin on the
I would
Olympic
love to
team.
see
What's
that.
up?
I would love to see.
So
I would love to see.
he'll
Obi
be
instead of
perfect
Kevin Love.
in Tokyo.
Yeah, but it is what it is. It's the experience. They get to play with some of the NBA's best against the US's best. They get to play with them and practice with them and learn from some of the best coaches and all of that. It's a great experience, and hopefully we're gonna reap some rewards from it in the next season. Now, you want to take this one, or you want me to take it?
We got to transition to our boy R.J. Barrett in the
And
bump. No, I'm not even going to violate. The Canada Czech Republic game was a pretty good game.
Before we get to that Czech Republic game, let's give them their respect, right?
Yeah,
they played two
won a
games
few
before
games.
that. They played 2 games before that. They beat China, and I forget who the other team they played. But we got a lot of good RJ clips out of that. We've seen a good RJ step back 3, RJ in transition with the dunk. You seen them? You seen those?
Yeah,
right?
I saw them.
Saw them on Twitter.
Yeah,
A lot of good RJ clips. We got to see Andrew Wiggins show out, in them games. And then this game happened today where they played Czech boys who have maybe 2 NBA players on it. And this game was you have to win this game in order to move on to the Olympics. They had to win this game and the next game. And French, you know what happened in this game?
Yeah, checkmate.
You got knocked the fuck out.
You threw me the alley. I completely fumbled and airballed it. My bad.
Canada got knocked out.
Yeah, Canada, RJ.
Yeah, that's it.
You let me down with this one.
That's it. No Olympics for you, Canada. And I looked at that Canada team. I was like, oh, that's an NBA player. That's another NBA player.
Yeah, Trey Lyles, Lou Dort.
Like 75% of this team is NBA players. And
Wiggins changed my perspective on him from the way he was playing too.
Who? Wiggins?
Wiggins, yeah. I look at him a little different now.
I'm gonna tell you what, he was looking dirt in probably the first 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters of this game. Like I put this game on maybe at halftime.
I put it on in the fourth.
And when I put it on, RJ was already the leading scorer. He had like 16 points. Everybody else was bricking. RJ was trying to pass it to everybody, and they were all bricking threes. They were at like 19% from 3 by the time I put the game on. They were down by however many points. Check kept putting it up to double digits. They were up 10 with a minute left in the game, and
that's when I turned the game off.
French turned it off. I'm talking to Ayaka, our father. I'm telling him, hey, Canada's about to lose this game. They're down 10. He's like, there's so much time left. And I'm like, yeah, there's a minute left now. They're down 10. And Czech proceeds to choke the end of the game away. They kept fouling Canada. Canada gets to within 3. Czech brings it back up to 8. Canada hits some free throws. Then RJ Barrett hits a 3 to bring it down to 3. And then I don't know if it was Wiggins or if it was Nickeil Alexander.
Nickeil Alexander hit clutch 3 off RJ's pass.
Hit a clutch 3 to send it to overtime. I was like, oh, it was like 5 seconds left in the game, and I was like, yo, are they really about to send this into overtime with a 3? And he splashed it. I called I got off the phone with my father. Yeah, this is about to be over. I'm about to start the podcast, whatever. Hang up on him. And then in like 20 seconds, they tied the game up. I call him back. It goes to voicemail. I'm like, you're not going to believe this, but Canada just sent it to overtime. I just wanted to call you and let you know that, yeah, this game wasn't over. And then I go to take a shower, and Canada proceeds to lose it in overtime.
Yeah, I turned the game back on after you texted me like, yo, it's in overtime. I'm like, what? I turned the game on. It's a tie game. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I see RJ missing a few clutch baskets that would have put the game away. And I'm just like, oh, you still got work to do. So maybe it's not a bad thing that they lost, because now RJ's going to get a chance to go back to New York, hang out with the crew, get in that workout room, get in that gym, develop some skills with the coaching staff, build some chemistry with Luca.
Even though he didn't play, even though he probably missed a couple of important shots in that game,
he was hooping throughout these few games. I ain't gonna lie.
You could argue that he was either Canada's second best player. At worst, he was their third best player. Or you could say he was tied with Wiggins for first best, because he did it all. He did it all for Canada. He passed the ball. He got rebounds. He hit clutch shots. He showed enough to be like, yeah, if he keeps playing like this and Wiggins keeps improving, Canada is probably eventually going to make it into the Olympics. I don't think that they're ever going to win unless they get somebody who's really good.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was going to say.
RJ showed that he can be a top 2 Canadian basketball player,
which isn't saying a lot.
I don't know if that means anything.
That's not saying a lot. Corey Joseph.
But when you represent in a country, that's something that you could, that's a little flex. That's a little flex you put out there. And I think I felt like Canada actually did RJ a disservice, especially in this game. I felt like RJ should have had at least 10 assists in this game. And Canada just kept missing open threes, and he was scoring. He was one of the top 3 scorers for Canada. I think they really did him a disservice, and I think that they missed him on a lot of open shots too. They did the Alfred Payton, looked at him, pretended they were going to pass it to him, and then drove to the basket when he was wide open in the corner, or not in the corner, or, on the elbow. And I felt like Canada didn't trust RJ enough in the moment when he is their, at worst, third best player.
Yeah. Wiggins hit a big shot. I was wondering why they didn't go to Wiggins more often.
I think Canada has an issue in terms of these guys don't know each other that well yet.
But isn't that everything?
And don't trust each other.
Not Czech, maybe, because Czech doesn't have a lot of NBA talent on their roster. But every team that does have NBA talent on their roster, I feel like they don't have the chemistry that these other countries would have.
Well, some of these teams do play together every year. When in the off season, some of these other countries get together, prep for the Olympics, all that stuff. So by the time the actual Olympics comes, they have somewhat of a rapport. That was the thing with the U.S. Like every year they had different players at a certain time, and then eventually they got the bronze medal because the talent gap between the U.S. and other countries kind of dipped. So Canada just looked like a team who had the talent but didn't have the chemistry, and they were just really young. I didn't see a lot of veteran players on that team, so that could have helped a lot also.
I agree.
Enough
of that, because I feel like every game after this, I said I feel like every game after this is going to be an Olympic game, right?
Every game after this is going to be an Olympic game. They're all going to be shown on CBS Sports. The Olympics don't actually... men's basketball in the Olympics doesn't actually start until the end of July, until about the 25th. And one of our players, who may not be a player next season, but currently a player for us now, Frank Milikina, is going to be playing for the French national team. And,
you seen them clips that he been out there with the practice team already? He looking good.
I've seen him like, yo, what? Well, what is this? Now, of course, this is practice, so it's kind of, there's a lot of dudes already hating, like, yeah, he's never going to do this in the NBA.
But why people saying that? Everything that I've seen in the clip, he's done in the NBA already.
Yeah, he has. He's hit the three. He's done crossovers. He's dunked in an NBA game.
Attack the driving lane and try to posterize the big man. He's done that multiple times. Now,
is that his game? No, it's not. But if he makes the fact that he's still making a more concerted effort to make it a part of his game when originally he would never do any of those things is a great sign. And it's a great sign, and he's a guy that I would want to bring back on the cheap. I hope that we can. I hope you can bring him back on the cheap.
It only makes sense to
see if he can continue his upside.
It only makes sense to because of the fact that it doesn't seem like we're gonna keep all of our draft picks, and the only scenario where I see we don't bring him back is if we bring in a young point guard who pretty much takes his spot, and bring in another draft pick. I should say a young point guard who takes his spot from the draft. Use multiple draft picks that we're gonna actually keep this year. That's the only way I see Frank.
I don't even think this team looks at Frank like a point guard though. I think they look at him as a playmaking wing, and I'm not mad at that.
That's a good point.
I'm not mad at that. So they can take a point guard and still keep Frank,
which I'm hoping they do.
They could have Frank come out. They could keep Frank and have him come out between either RJ or have him come out behind whoever they have as the three in the lineup, which in the starting lineup. Which I'm gonna take this time to just kind of veer off for a half second. My homeboy said today, yeah, you know what? I see that our starting lineup could be like D Rose, RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. I said, hold up, you got Obi at the 3? And I wanted to know how you felt about that, because
Obi's not a 3.
I love my boy, but I told him he's not a 3. He can't. You're asking for trouble putting him there.
He's not a 3. Leave him at the 4. No matter like who else is on the team, just have him back up Julius. Yeah, I don't understand why that's such an unrealistic
Don't-
option.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke,
He
don't
has a
fix it.
long.
That's
He's
how
gonna
I-
have a long time to figure out what his role in the NBA is gonna be. So let's not make things a little more difficult by switching him up and making him a 3 and all this other weird stuff. He's a 4.
If anything, I see him as a small ball 5, like Taj Gibson. You know, just he needs some of that, you know, lower body strength, because I feel like their frames are kind of the same. If he does that, he can shoot. He's a lot more athletic than Taj. He should be able, if he can learn the defensive rotations and all that stuff. That's where you want him, small ball 5.
Yeah. If he's able to move a lot quicker laterally, then yeah, move him to the 3. But that's not realistic, is it?
That's you took the word. That's exactly what I told him. He can't move laterally, so you can't be a 3. You're like you can't. He's gonna get burned. Like, can he switch on to 3s and hold his on for a little bit? Absolutely, but he can't do that now, and he's not gonna be able to do that, and he's not gonna be able to do that this season. And he said, yeah, if he gets his handles up, no.
His handle's not that bad though.
Anyway, it's not that bad, but
He's not a wing. Let's not
three.
push it. He's just now starting to get comfortable in his role. So let's just let him
Right.
take more time to develop in that role, so that when next season comes, he's ready. He knows what to do. He's not looking lost out there. He knows what to provide in his minutes on the court. Let's just keep it simple for now.
All right. Shout outs to you, Ray. I like where your head is going, but I wholeheartedly.
Shout out to Mel too, because he's the one that started that debate with me and about the Ben Simmons Kyrie.
Right. Yeah, shout out to y'all, but I disagree. So yeah, the French national team is gonna play against Team USA.
Yeah,
in their
on
first
CBS Sports.
game. First game on July 25th. All of the games are going to be on CBS Sports. Frank, if you want to watch Frank, if you're a Frank fan, you want to see if he can actually play meaningful minutes on a basketball team. If you're trying to figure out why so many people like Frank Milikina so much, and you want to see if there's anything that maybe you could change your mind, France is going to play on July 25th against the U.S., July 28th against a team that is still to be determined, and then July 31st against Iran. And then we have our last Knick, Luca Vildoza, who should be a part of this rotation in this upcoming season, unless he is complete dirt, which, judging from some of the clips I've seen, he's not dirt. And matter of fact, I see the last clip that just came out either today or yesterday. I looked at that and I was like, maybe that's why we're not looking for point guards. Maybe that's why we're looking for wings and shooters.
I think he could play with a point guard. Why we can't still look for a point guard? I see he does have a nice little handle. He makes some nice passes.
Yeah.
But do we see him taking Alfred Payton's spot
Yeah.
as a starting point guard?
So
I see him more as a
don't
combo
know.
guard.
I see him as a combo guard too, but that's fine. It's better than Alfred Payton still. I'm not against the combo guard being our one. As a matter of fact, we're not talking about the draft today, but when we do, one of the guys that I would be okay with drafting is a combo guard at the 1.
Can I take a guess?
He would be a 1. Yeah, what's your guess?
Trey Mann.
Nope. Actually him too. But I'm thinking about somebody who I think has a better chance to start as a rookie with Tibbs, and I don't think Trey Mann is a rookie that Tibbs would start right away. I think Trey Mann would come off the bench at first.
Would we have to move up to get him?
Probably. I don't know. There's some. I'm not going to spoil it, but let's just say he could fall. He could. We might have to move up. It's still up in the air. But Luca Vildoza, he's a combo guard. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it if you're looking at wings and shooters and you want one of the guys that you draft to actually start, and there are some starter quality wings that you could acquire. who can shoot, who can defend, who you could plug right into the starting lineup, and are going to contribute right away. You have Luca, you have RJ, you put that guy that you draft in there, then you have Randall, and you have Mitch. That's a decent starting five. If we don't pick up anybody in free agency, which
we're probably going to do.
You know what? It could go any kind of way. I wouldn't be surprised if nobody that we signed ended up as a starter. I would be surprised if everybody we signed became a starter. I really don't know, and I'm just excited to see what we do in the draft before I really delve deep into it, even though we're going to try and delve deep into it next week.
Giggity.
But yeah, I would, if we started the season, Luca Vildoza was our starting point guard, even though he's a combo guard, I'd be like, all right, I can see the vision. I can see it. Luca, RJ.
I wouldn't be mad.
Wing, Randall, Mitch. I'm not mad at it. He can pass. He can dribble. He can penetrate.
I'm lying.
That's all I really wanted.
I'm actually lying.
That's all I really wanted.
Because I've been watching so much Sharif Cooper highlights. I'd probably be mad if we don't draft him.
Save that for the draft.
My bad.
But yeah, that one clip where Luca threw that pass from the 3-point line after doing the dribble move, that's point guard ish, man. Like, you do a crossover, do a behind the back, and then in one swift move, you pass it through 2 or 3 defenders to your teammate to score. That's all you really want from the one.
Yeah.
Like, really? That's all you really want.
You got no argument from me.
Luca Vildoza will be playing for the Argentinian team. Argentina is going to be playing July 26th against a team still to be determined. July 29th against Spain, and August 1st against Japan. So we kind of touched on this, but if he does show out in the Olympics and is clearly a top-tier guard in the NBA, do we need to take a guard in free agency /
Yes, because of the fact that we literally just finished watching Frank perform. Was it last year or 2 years ago when France and did they knock out USA? They beat USA, right?
USA, they didn't knock them out. It just lowered their standing. So, yeah, Frank single-handedly helped USA not achieve the goal.
And then they didn't get a single minute the next season. That's what I'm saying. Olympic basketball is Olympic basketball. I'm not going to make NBA decisions based off what happens in Tokyo, because who are they playing against? USA team isn't the best USA team available because of injuries, because of the season that we just came off of, where they don't want to have a bunch of all-stars going straight from the playoffs to overseas basketball. Yeah, that's about it. That and the fact that NBA basketball is different from FIBA basketball. So if he does show out in the Olympics, it'll be encouraging. He's going to have to show out again in Summer League and then show out again in preseason before I have confidence in him to the point where I feel like I shouldn't go out and get another free agent and draft another point guard. It's not enough time in order for us to see him, because free agency starts after the draft. We'll see him in the Olympics, but that's not a good base format to judge a player, I don't feel like.
I see what you're saying. I will disagree with you, because the comparison that you made was Frank Milikina in one game, which he had more than one game, to be fair. He played well in a few games. But hey, I don't think you could say that he was consistently France's best player. Whereas I think that you have the possibility to say that Luca is the best player on the Argentinian team, or at least the top 2 or 3. And if he consistently proves to be one of their best players, and Argentina goes deep into the Olympics, because this is a tournament format where they're trying to get the gold, and they're going to, assuming that's the case, they're probably going to play the USA twice the USA team twice in the Olympics. I'm interested to see how he looks throughout the Olympics, and if he looks like he's going one-on-one or he's right up there, obviously not as good as, but he's right up there with like a LaMelo Ball. Luka Doncic is also going to be playing in the Olympics, but if it's like, okay, I can't, like, yeah, he's going right with them. Maybe he's not as good as them, but he's right there with them. If he plays that well, I think that's. I don't think you can compare that to a Frank Ntilikina, because Frank Ntilikina is not consistent. Even in the Olympics, he wasn't consistent last year. If Luca Vildoza is consistent and he's playing good like that, I think you would have to put some merit into that. Otherwise, though, I hear what you're saying.
But if he was that good, LaMelo level ball, why wouldn't he just go into the draft instead of being a free agent? I don't see him being. I think what it
was with Luka was that he wanted to have control over where he went. He didn't want to be drafted to a team he didn't want to play for. So when you decide that you're going to continue to play overseas until you're 24, 25, whatever, that's usually what it is. You want to play overseas. You want to hone your game over there. You're playing against some of the world's best anyway. And now when you want to go to the NBA, you get your opportunity to play for whatever team you want to play for. It's like Pablo Prigioni. He could have got drafted when he was younger, I'm pretty sure, but he waited until he was 35, 30. No, he wasn't, but he was good enough. He was good enough to play in the NBA, and
for sure.
And if he had gone into the NBA a lot earlier, he probably would have gotten a lot more respect for his career than he ended up getting. And he got respect. Don't get me wrong; it's not that he did it. But
he was one of my favorite players on that Knicks team.
Pablo Prigioni was an NBA player. He was 30. He came into the NBA as a 35-year-old rookie.
Yep.
And played damn good and played for another 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
then became a coach.
Right. So I think that we need to keep that in mind also, that just because you choose not to get drafted, that doesn't mean like, oh, you weren't good enough. Some of these dudes are making good money overseas and they're playing competitive basketball over there, and they just want to have control over their future as opposed to letting somebody else control their future. That's all it is, really. So we really are just still guessing, and we won't know until we see Luca Vildoza in Olympic basketball and then on an NBA court to really know how good he is. And I can't wait.
I'm open to being wrong on this topic. If he comes in and lights it up and makes the front office speculate and start to have internal discussions on whether or not they even need to pursue another point guard, I'm happy. So I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Well, one way or another, we're going to see exactly how the front office, how much they believe in Luka based on how they draft.
Yeah.
Or how much faith that they have that they can acquire a starter level point guard based on the draft. Because if what Tom Thibodeau says, they only looking for wings and shooters, doesn't sound like they're looking for point guards. And there are a few guards and combo guards that they could be like, yeah, we're going to draft them and have them be our starting point guard. I think that there will be at least one option on the board at 19. And I've also heard that they're going to move up. So if they definitely have a better shot at that if they move up also. So, but if what Thibodeau said is true and they end up with a wing and a shooter, they may either believe in Luka already, or they know something that we don't know yet that we're going to find out August 2nd when free agency starts.
And speaking of free agency, let's talk about these free agent rumors and trade rumors.
Yeah.
That's linked to the Knicks. So first up, all people have been talking about all last week, for the last several weeks, is the Damian Lillard situation happening out in Portland. What's your take on this? You think we should pursue him or wait to see what happens first?
So,
because it sounds like the Knicks have been behind the scenes monitoring that situation, putting together a trade package for Lillard, but I don't know if I want to trade for Lillard.
So I think that I'm perfectly fine with the Knicks doing their due diligence in figuring out what would be an acceptable trade for Dame Lillard, what the Trailblazers would accept as a trade for Dame Lillard. And that's where I stop. And I stopped there because we discussed it. I don't remember if it was the last episode or the episode before last. But if your move is just to stop at Damian Lillard and you fielding a team with Damian Lillard, Julius Randle,
RJ Barrett.
well, some of the stuff that I've read has RJ Barrett going out. Some of it has RJ, Obi, and Quickly going out.
I'm not making that trade. I'm sorry.
And
RJ and Quickly and Obi? Nah, we're not doing that. Because that's already going to be at least 2-3 first-round picks on top of that. I'm not doing that.
right.
I'm not doing that.
So if you do that trade, I have to believe that you know
I don't
somebody else is coming right away.
Why would we have to give up all that though? Is my thing. When you think about the other teams in the NBA that need a point guard first of all, and have cap space and trade assets to trade for an all-star point guard, what other team are we competing against? The Lakers? They don't have a lot of assets.
Well, you're
To trade, I
basically
should say.
You're bidding against Portland because even if he asks for a trade,
They don't have to trade him.
they don't have to trade him, and they have him under contract until the 2024-2025 season.
Word?
So, yes. So, and I just made sure to look it up before I said that too. If he asked for a trade, like if he were to ask for a trade tomorrow, Portland can be patient and say, okay, just let us know where you want to go and we'll try. But we're not gonna kneecap ourselves to send you where you want to go.
That's not right though. After all he did for that organization, they shouldn't play with him like that.
It's not playing with him. You're not gonna throw your team into the dumpster and give up the best player that you've had in how long? Just because okay, we want to do right by you. You want to go to New York?
Yeah.
Let's
draft picks.
Let's try and facilitate something. Not we're gonna take the bare minimum and not get anything worthwhile.
But
back,
who's saying bare minimum? All I'm saying is everything that is speculated to be in our offer is way too much. That's a package for Giannis, not Damian Lillard. RJ, Obi, Quickly, and multiple first-round picks. That's way too much. Way too much.
I agree, and I also disagree. I agree because, Dame ain't Giannis. But I also am kind of like, but Giannis ain't proved to be LeBron.
He proved to be better than Lillard, though.
KD.
He's better than Lillard. Defensive Player of the Year, MVP. He's making your team a lot. You're gonna feel his impact more than you'll feel Lillard's impact on your team. I don't know
if I agree with that.
For sure.
I'm gonna put it like this. Their games are so different, and what they bring to your team is so different. Even when it comes to the end of the game, like at the end of the game, I'm not sure I want to put the ball in Giannis's hand every possession for 5 straight possessions.
But we don't have to.
I'm not saying we have to, but I'm saying like Dame is a guy that you want to put the ball in his hand and you trust the ball in his hand. Like all you have to do is and this is true for both of them, all you have to do is put a team around them that is going to help you compete. But the way that Dame is going to help you win and the way that Giannis is going to help you win is just two different things. So I don't know if it's fair to compare them. So, and Portland knows that. Like, we just came off of a playoff series where Damian Lillard basically tried to will his team to a win, scored 50 points, and they still lost. And
which helps prove my point.
but it's not because of him.
It's not. I'm not saying it's because of him.
It's because of the team around him. Whereas Giannis, I don't see Giannis putting in like Giannis is going to put in an all-time NBA performance in the playoffs, absolutely. But he's not. It's not going to be in the way that Dame Lillard will put in an all-time NBA.
Yeah, but Dame Lillard's not in the playoffs no more. Giannis is still. It's about wins, Jelani, not about who scores the most and who scores the most creative.
I get all that. But you got to understand what Dame brings to the game, to your team, and what Giannis, like, you're talking about apples and oranges. They both will get you wins.
I don't feel like it's apples and oranges, though.
It is. It's apples and oranges. They both will get you wins, and they both will get you wins in different ways. I would love to see Dame on the Knicks just as much as I would love to see Giannis on the Knicks. But I also know that you put one on this team, the team looks way different than you put the other on.
Of course. I feel like you get further with Giannis than Lillard, though. Because Giannis provides too much around the game outside of just scores, like the way that he scores.
Let's put it like this. Our two holes happen to be forward and guard.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis is a forward.
And a guard.
Damian Lillard is a guard. I don't know if I would say that you put Giannis on this Knicks team, the Knicks team is going to have more wins than this team with Dame. I don't know if I can confidently say that. And the reason I don't think I can confidently say that is because the Milwaukee Bucks team is a better three-point shooting team than the Knicks, which is what's perfect for Giannis. This team ain't perfect for Giannis.
Yeah, that's why we changed the team.
You put Dame on this team is going to be better because everything that we needed in the playoffs, we now have with Dame.
No. You want to know why it's not the same? Because what do you surround Dame with?
What do you mean? Like,
what kind of player archetypes would you surround Dame with?
Good players.
What makes them good? You need players who's going to be defensive, right?
Which we have.
Who can also shoot.
We have some of that.
How many players we have that can defend and shoot?
RJ, if we're talking about,
we're probably going to trade RJ for him.
RJ, Bullock, but we're talking about a scenario where if you just plop these players onto this current team,
I feel like it'd be easier to just surround the team around Giannis because all you need is shooting.
I agree with that. So all right. So I see what you're saying. So I'm not going to disagree with you further. For me, if I'm looking at it from just kind of, all right, outside of this specific scenario, or if you're giving up all your pieces for Dame or you're giving up all your pieces for Giannis, yeah, I guess ultimately I agree with you. I would rather give up all my pieces for Giannis. With that being said, next to Julius Randle, I don't know how much I like Giannis.
But we would probably have to trade Randle for him.
For who?
Giannis. I don't think they would play together.
Then, if you're trading Julius Randle, you don't have to give up all those young players for. So it's a different trade. So,
touche.
Whatever, man. Like this is a hard discussion to have. Like, yeah. I would rather have this package for Giannis, but if you do that package for Giannis, this team doesn't look as good as you want it to. The package that I would do for Giannis, I would want to do for Dame. But they're not gonna.
That's where I disagree with you,
Julius. I would trade Julius for Dame, and then try see if you could get.
Julius is a lot younger than Dame.
Yeah, he is.
That's the only reason that it would make me uncomfortable, because if we have a young all-star who's on all NBA, and then you get a guy who's up there in age who's also all NBA and MVP candidate possibly down the line now that he's in New York, but how long is that going to last? You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't see Damian Lillard's career lasting into his 40s.
Dame ain't gonna be 40 by the time his contract is over, man.
He gonna be pushing it. Ain't he like 32, 33 right now?
I'm about to look it up right now. But
I'm saying pushing 40. He's gonna be like 30. He's 30 right now.
I don't think he's gonna be. Yeah, he's 30. Like, he'll be 35 when he's done. And I think when he's 35, he's still going to be one of the top guards in the
Hopefully,
NBA.
yeah.
Like, I know, I think he will be, because his game, the stuff that makes him special, it's not like we're talking about Derrick Rose, or we're talking about somebody who has to kill themselves. We're not talking about Russ. Like, Dame is a guy who could just get a bucket. He can be what Chris Paul is now, except obviously he's not a point guard like Chris Paul, but his game can go into 36, 37 because of just how he plays. I don't think you have to worry about Dame when this contract is over. I think you have to worry about Dame for the next contract. But if you're trying to get him now, add him to some young pieces that we have here, which according to some reports that I'm seeing, that's not what we're going to do. Okay, let's say we put Dame next to Julius Randle. I don't like it, and we're going to come back full circle. I don't like it unless I know that you have somebody else who's going to be there with them. If you're giving up all of these young guys, you better be bringing me somebody who's a top tier level player in the NBA, because otherwise you handicapped us for as long as we have Dame and Julius and whoever else you're going to add.
I don't think that's a handicap, because if you think about it, we're in a similar scenario as the New York team with Carmelo that came off the 54 wins and made the playoffs. We're kind of similar to that team. Well, no, I'm bugging. We had some of the same achievements.
Mixtape Podcast.
We had a lot of the same achievements as that 2013 team without having to trade the whole farm for a Carmelo Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we're on that side of the fence, rather than having traded for a guy to get us this success, I feel like when you trade for a guy who's going to also add on to the type of success that we had in the 2013 season, and the 2020 season, where we got to the 4th seed and all that type of stuff, the only way we could go is up, I feel like. Because the guy that we traded for last time in 2013 was Andrea Bargnani. This time, if it was to be a Damian Lillard, I wouldn't have a huge problem with it if we sold all of our young talent, because of the fact that we have a young all-star, young all-NBA player. And to complement those two guys, because picture Damian Lillard and Julius Randle in pick-and-roll action over and over. That's unstoppable.
I would love to see it, but you said it in another podcast. If we kept RJ, right? Because back then I was saying OBIQ picks for Dame, and that was it. We keep Mitch, we keep RJ.
I don't even want to give up IQ.
I know you don't, but you said Dame, RJ, pick your 3.
Randle,
Julius Randle, and Mitch.
It's not getting us there.
It's not getting you there. Now you're taking RJ out of that. And Dame is going to be making 30+ mil next year. Who are you bringing in? Who are you bringing in with 25, 30 mil?
You want to know why you can't say that?
You're not bringing them in, huh?
You want to know why you can't say that?
Wow.
Who did we bring in last year? Free agency, and we got to the 4th seed.
Yeah, but when you bring Dame in, you're bringing him in with the hopes of being a championship contender sometime soon. Right? And that's the only reason you bring him in. You're choosing not to be patient.
Yeah.
Because you could be patient and wait to see who you can get in free agency in 2022.
But even it doesn't really matter who you get in free agency, because you're not beating enough teams to make it to a championship team with Damian Lillard and Randle as your 2 top players. So I guess what I'm saying really,
you need a better player. You either need a better player, or you need like 3 other really, really, really good players
for the cheap.
Just regardless of what the contract is, they need to be on the team, and then you need a bench. So Can you do that? Can you do that if you trade for Dame before everything else? I don't think you can. I think you need to have I think you need to have the young players, whoever we draft, you need to have them show out, be solid contributors, and you need to have either a big free agent who is going to help this team get better, or multiple free agents who are going to help this team get better. Maybe not big names, but names that are better than Reggie Bullock and Alec Burks. And once you have that team, now you trade for Dame Lillard. You have whoever your big two, whoever your other big guy is with Julius Randle, if you ended up getting that big free agent. Or you wait until the next season and you get your big free agent then, and then you get Dame Lillard or whoever else is out there, and you make that trade. And now you have a team that might be able to challenge for a contender. But if you just do that trade, like you say you do it during the lottery, during the draft, you're not going nowhere. Like I don't see the path unless you know something is going to happen in free agency, or you know something's going to happen in the next offseason. Unless you know for a fact. But if you don't know that for a fact and you're just swinging for the fences, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I want.
But this front office doesn't. They haven't shown that.
Yeah. They have.
Yeah,
but
it's shown that they're very calculated in all their moves. Go ahead.
But there's also been, at some points, maybe a little too patient too.
No such thing as a Knicks fan.
No, you can be a little too patient. You can be a little too patient and miss your window. We need to be more patient. Like if we come into this next offseason and we do that whole, we're gonna have Vildoza be our starting point guard, and then we're gonna draft well, and then we're gonna sign a bunch of guys, mostly for the bench. If we do that, I won't be mad. And I know a bunch of people would be mad, and we probably would end up losing more games next year.
The most likely
I wouldn't be
scenario
mad at
that I see is IQ makes that jump into the starting five, and Vildoza's playing in the role that he played this year. He comes off the bench. He's the facilitator with Derrick Rose off the bench. And we sign a few guys to bolster up the bench now that IQ isn't down there to provide that spark. That's the most realistic thing that I see from this offseason. I see IQ making that step to the starting five.
I need to see him in Summer League first before I can.
He might not need to play in Summer League.
That. No, he's going to play in
It's
Summer
official?
League. He's a rookie.
He's not a rookie no more.
It's extra reps. He was a rookie this year. It was extra reps. There's no reason why Quickly and Obi both don't play in Summer League, just to kind of show how much better they were from last year. Remember, they didn't play in Summer League.
There wasn't a Summer League.
Exactly. So you want to get them the extra reps that they didn't get last season. You want to see how much they improved their game over the summer. You want to kind of get a glimpse. Like, I need to see Quickly have a better handle and perfect that floater and get close to the rim a little bit more before I'm comfortable being like, yeah, he can go in the starting lineup. Like, the only way I see him in the starting lineup right now is if you push RJ to the 3 and you make Quickly a 2 and you have a really small lineup. That's the only thing that I see right now until that aspect.
RJ's been a 3 all year.
Right. Well, he's been kind of interchangeable with Reggie. I mean, he's sometimes a 2, sometimes a 3 because they're interchangeable like that.
But you said Vildoza at the 1 and IQ at the 2?
That's
D
the only
Rose
way I
off the
would
bench
see.
running the 1?
Right.
And we just draft
that's the only way I
2.
would see. Or even if you have D Rose starting and IQ at the 2. Like, that's the only way I could see IQ playing. I don't see IQ taking the point guard spot. I think that they want IQ to get there, but I have to see his handles and his court vision and his shot inside of the 3-point line to elevate to a point to where I trust him at the 1. And I think that same shit goes for Tom Thibodeau. But speaking of some guards, it seems like it's all guards that we're talking about when it comes to free agency and trade rumors.
Yeah. Colin Sexton he about to get the boot from Cleveland. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, they talking about moving him because OKC is planning to go full rebuild. You know what I'm about to say, right?
Full rebuild?
Full rebuild mode. Let's say it together. Full rebuild
mode.
I said it wrong again. All right, whatever. Apparently, Shea is a little. He's getting a little too old. Apparently, from Zach Lowe's podcast is what I heard, or Brian Windhurst, one of them two. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Apparently, he's getting a little too old for them to want to have a roster built around him, even though he's only like 22, 23 years old. So I don't know how much I believe that report, but if SGA is available via trade, I feel like we should go get him.
What's the trade? If the trade's a good trade, I mean,
for a young player that hasn't proved much, I don't think that it's going to be like he proved a lot to people who just watch basketball, but he hasn't like technically proven anything as an all-star appearance, no all NBA, all deep, none of that. He hasn't done any accolade things to raise his trade value, which is why I say we should pursue him, because he's a young, talented point guard who we probably should have drafted a few years ago instead of Kevin Knox.
Anytime I feel like there's somebody for a trade, I think about what I would have to give up in order
Draft
to get
picks.
them, and I'm like,
We ain't gonna have to give up a farm for SGA. I can promise you
it's
that.
it's not even about a farm. It's just draft picks have value depending on where you are,
And we're not bringing on a lot of young players.
or how good your team is, or bad your team is.
I got a trade for you.
Yeah.
If we trade 3 of our draft picks in this draft here this year for SGA, would you be mad?
Depends on the picks.
Everything but the 19th pick.
No, I wouldn't be mad.
Everything but the 20th pick. 21 pick.
I don't think you get SGA for only picks though.
That's a lot of picks. We have 4 draft picks in this class.
I don't think
a
you get
first
him for
round,
only-
2 seconds, and
don't
maybe
think
a
you get him-
future swap.
I don't think you get him for. I think it's a slight chance you get him for all 4 picks that we have this year. A slight chance.
But you heard what I just said at the end, right? A
What?
future first round pick swap.
I don't think that gets it done, because the pick swap, you would be assuming that the Knicks would still have a worse pick.
But it doesn't have to be a pick swap with OKC. It could be a pick swap with another team's draft pick that they have. They have like 30 draft picks. If you do a pick swap with not a Houston, a Golden State pick or a
And that's the other
playoff
thing.
team,
They have all the picks in the world. Like why? Like what do they need picks for? Like I
because
think
they love having picks, acquiring picks in draft. I mean, in trades. That's the team that acquires picks for players. That's the team that does it.
I think at a certain point, it's like, all right, you're gonna still do this. Like, like I think they're stashing those picks for something, and I don't think having 3 or 4 extra picks is gonna swing the deal for them.
I
But
think so.
I could be wrong.
That's
I could be
3
wrong.
first round
If
picks.
if that's what it takes, I mean, I'm not mad at it. If it's three picks, I'm not mad at it. I just don't think that. I think they have to really not value SGA.
Or 2 first round picks, I should say, in 2 seconds.
I think they have to really not value him properly in order to give him up for that.
And maybe a player.
I think they can get that same amount of picks, that same number of picks, and a worthwhile player that can play on their rotation.
But who's making that trade with them, though? You need a team that doesn't have a point guard. That's already slim. That's the Knicks.
I don't know. Listen, there's a lot of scenarios that I'm like, oh, that could happen, and then I'm like, I don't know if that could happen.
Let's really think about it.
It's all seemed like yeah, it's possible, but it's also like, but is it really possible though? And that's how I feel about this.
You got to
The
treat it
only
like
thing
real
that
estate.
The only thing that I'm like, okay, this actually does make sense is if Cleveland gives up Colin Sexton because of where they're drafting, and
And they don't want to pay him the max.
they don't want to pay him.
Yeah, whoever trades for Sexton is basically trading for
They
the rights
have-
to pay him.
They have Garland, and they're probably gonna pick up a guard where they're drafting.
A good one, too. Real good one.
Yeah.
Jalen Green.
They're like, unless it's either Garland or Sexton, and I'm willing to bet that it ain't going to be Garland that they trade out.
Mm-mm.
So, and I could see them giving up Sexton for less than value. I don't think that they will. I think they'll get decent value for Sexton, but I see that more with Sexton than I see that with SGA.
I don't see it with Sexton. He's not a playmaker at all. If we want Sexton, we might as well could have kept Alonzo Trier.
Yeah, sure. But
if you give Alonzo Trier his own team, put Alonzo Trier on Cleveland instead of Sexton, he's going to drop 32, 30, 40 points, and they ain't going to win shit.
You're putting a lot of... you disrespecting Sexton.
A little bit. But Alonzo Trier was a bucket. I was looking at his highlights the other day. I'm like, yo, he was all right.
He's not even in the league anymore.
He's in the G League, though. He was always a bucket. He just couldn't play as a team and play defense.
He's playing in an NBA team right now.
That doesn't mean nothing. Luca wasn't playing on the NBA team last year. There's so many good players that's not in the NBA, and then they come into the NBA and just light it up. Am I right or am I wrong? Just because you ain't playing for a team right now don't mean you're cheeks.
I'm not saying he's cheeks. I'm just saying that that Colin Sexton's value may be low, but I don't think that you can say, like, if you're going to trade for Colin Sexton, you might as well have kept Alonzo. Like, I think it's
a little disrespectful. I'm sorry.
That's slightly disrespectful.
But you get what I'm trying. Like, he's not a playmaker. He's not a playmaker. He's just going to be a guy who's going to dominate the ball and try to score.
He's not an answer. You're right. He's not a playmaker. He's not an answer for this team. I wouldn't want to trade for him. I wouldn't want him even in free agency. So I would rather SGA out of the two. But there are other guys that I think I would rather too, but we don't know enough about their situations in order to talk about them, at least not this week.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to wrap it up here. We're at an hour 20. And yeah, you got anything to plug?
Man. Nah, I don't.
I don't got nothing to plug either. A lot of people's birthdays just passed, so happy birthday to all of you. My boy LeVar sometimes listens to this podcast. Happy birthday!
And shout out to your name being LeVar, because if we get LeVar Ball to come with Lonzo to the Knicks, that'd be lit. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but my bad.
Tanya, I'm not sure if she listens to this, but happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Aria, Bryce, Liam, all younger people who don't listen to this podcast, but maybe their parents will, and happy birthday to them. And I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of other people because I know a lot of cancers, me being one of them whose birthdays are coming up. But I'm going to just wrap it up there. I think that's all. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Deuces. That intro music was Broadway Boo by Gotti B, formerly known as Bugatti Blaze. You can find us on Twitter at The Knicks Take. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you for listening.